Greetings, friends. It's your old pal Kevin here. Just so you know, the episode you're about to watch is a live show. It was our first ever live show. Took place as part of the London Podcast Festival in the lovely King's Place Theatre. It's part of a whole day of wrestling podcast events. So it's probably a little bit unlike any other episode you've ever listened to because there's other people in the room and neither Joe nor I are in our pajamas. As such, it being a live show, I've edited out one or two things. There were some videos that were played for the audience in effect. There were also some images that were shown on screen to illustrate some points that we were making. At one point, I think I went over to hug a still image of Mantar. I think, having listened back, it's all pretty much self-explanatory. But if you weren't at the live show and there's any bits that are a bit confusing, just sound off in the comments below and I'll hopefully enlighten you. I just want to take this point to thank Zoe and everyone who helped organise the London Podcast Festival Wrestling Day. Thank you to everyone who came out. It was so nice to meet all of you and it was so amazing to have such a big, enthusiastic crowd for our first ever live show. And thank you to all of our listeners who continue to support us, and goodness knows, maybe we'll even do some new live shows in the future in other places other than London. If you want to support this podcast and help us keep going from strength to strength, help fund some possible other live shows in the future, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/How2 Wrestling. Do you know that a $5 backing will get you access to over 30 bonus episodes? It's true. Good value for money. Check them out. They're all available now for a $5 backing. Thanks to everyone for supporting us, and enjoy this How To Silly. Beautiful signs. Oh my goodness, I'm already seeing signs. My goodness, you're all here. That's absolutely fabulous. This is the first ever live podcast that I or anyone I'm associated with podcasting with has ever done. So firstly, thank you guys for coming out and supporting wrestling podcasts today. Seriously awesome. We demand to be taken seriously. So today we're doing a live episode of How To Wrestling. This will be recorded and it will be going out. Just as a result of that, can you make sure all of your phones are as loud as possible? Or turn them off, whichever. Just turn them off, please. You'll save yourself an embarrassment because I will edit in a naming and shaming into the episode if that does happen. So me up here is pretty much no good. How To Wrestling is about one thing, and it's about teaching my incredible partner, my cohort, my comrade, my best friend, Joe Graham. Welcome to the stage, Joe! Wow.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Who are all these people in our living room?
Well, this is actually, we're doing a live show today, honey. We're doing a live show, so these people have all come in. You've got a microphone, so maybe
I'm so sorry. Who are all these people in our living room?
Well, we've decided to refer to them as a how-to universe because branding is very, very strong here in the wrestling podcast world. Hence our pink cushions and our pink mugs. So hopefully all of you are wearing at least one pink item of clothing today. So what we're going to be talking about today is officially the best thing about wrestling that there is. The silly stuff. The ridiculously silly parts of wrestling. Today I've described that if wrestling is a roast chicken, today is the crispy skin that Joe gets to enjoy.
And I do enjoy crispy skin.
It is, it's true. Every time I make a roast chicken, I give Joe the skin.
He also watches me eat it.
Because I'm a modern man, yeah? So, gentlemen in the audience, up your game, yeah? Joe, I just wanted to know if you could maybe tell us what are some of the highlights or benefits of being a fan of wrestling?
Being a fan of wrestling, well, what can I say? Obviously, everyone hates wrestling, especially in this room. No wrestling fans here. Wrestling's great. It's fun, isn't it? It's a good, fun laugh. You've got fantastic music, mostly. Some not so good music.
Yeah.
You've got the passion, I think.
Yeah.
Wrestling is such a passionate thing. The fans are so passionate.
We went to a Pro Wrestling Eve last night. There was a lot of passion on display there. Any Eve
Yes.
fans? If you've not been, that's your homework tonight. Go check it out.
Yeah, seriously. You've got hunks.
Oh.
Can't ignore the hunks.
That's true.
Flip-de-doos. You've got athletics. Yeah.
I was wondering if, in terms today, we're talking about silly stuff in wrestling. And you frequently tell me that you've seen a lot of silly things, silly people in wrestling. Have you got like a hit list of some of the silliest people or silliest things in wrestling you've seen so far on your journey?
I mean, The Undertaker is pretty silly when you think about it.
What? A zombie cowboy Undertaker? Silly?
So he rides a motorbike and he's a zombie and he's died like how many times?
He's a Renaissance man, honey. He's a man of many talents. So.
And he's a cowboy.
Yep.
I'm
and
sure
there
there's
ain't
more.
no grave that can hold him down as well, I've heard. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's very weird, is The Undertaker.
That's true, yes.
Randy Orton.
This is great, right? Because you've become obsessed with Randy recently.
I am obsessed. Every time I do anything around the house, now I have to go.
And I'm hoping it's going to get to the point now. I've heard you do it a few times when you think I've not been listening, where you will do something and silently go, I hear voices.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Assumedly while doing this as well. So what is it about Randy, other than doing this, that you find so particularly silly?
He takes himself so seriously, and I don't feel anyone else does. Like, is he a snake? What's his deal? Why does he slither around?
Because he's the Viper, honey.
So he's the Viper.
Yeah.
All right.
Hence the oiliness and the
Do Vipers
slitheriness.
do this?
If they had arms, they would be doing that shit all the time. Speaking as a zoologist, the animal kingdom, bam, venomous strike. They would be doing this, but they can't, so they just go instead. So yeah. Anyone else?
Adrian Neville's quite silly, I think, in a good way. I love Adrian Neville, but
is it silliest because of his accent?
No,
or?
It's because he's king of the north, isn't it?
The king of like Northern England, you mean specifically? Or?
Yeah, but also he is literally just a character from Game of Thrones. Jon Snow, you know nothing.
So if I did a voice like that now, it would be construed to be like offensive, being an outsider. So you can make fun of the North all you want.
You're not English, are you? No,
not really. So. No. Although I keep getting tweets of people saying that they think I am English or that I'm British. Yeah. And I'd like to say once again that I'm not. And everyone here tell 10 people that I'm not English, and I think the word will kind of spread. It'll go viral, kind of, you know, like that.
Tell a friend today that Ireland is not in England.
Yeah, please. We need that to be established, particularly with Brexit and all. Joe, we had a little bit of a think, and oh my... Sorry, I've asked for signs, and this guy over here who Right, this was what happens when you think you're being a good fan by making a sign and all you're doing is distracting me when I'm trying to do my first ever live show. Fabulous. I've gone and lost my bloody place. God,
beautiful. Can I buy you a little yellow hat to wear in the bedroom?
Safety first. Safety first. Joe, you have had a little bit of a think, a little bit of a rumination, and you have come up with some of your own silly gimmicks that you think might work in the world of wrestling. Now, I think we ran through some of these to make sure that this doesn't already exist in wrestling, but here are some potentially new gimmicks, original content. Don't steal, WWE, if you're here.
Yeah. Okay, my first idea was a kind of inspired by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay.
Craft beer hipster.
Ooh.
Bring out all the different types of, you know, independent ales.
And like after the match, he makes you drink 6 different beers. They all taste of hops. Ah!
I love Wizard Sleeve.
I mean, if you have listened to Steve Austin's podcast recently, that is just his character now. Like, I want to tell you about an IPA that I done drank at the weekend. All hops and bitter. Oh, man. Okay, what's our next gimmick?
Jesus, I thought would be a great gimmick. Wouldn't it?
Specifically the Roman Catholic interpretation, or?
Yeah, I think that would be a particularly good one, wouldn't it? Yeah. I just think it would be great look. I don't know what you'd have for your entrance music. Something glorious.
Something holy.
Hallelujah, has that been done before?
That has been used before, but I think we could use it again. Damien Sandow probably won't mind, you know. That's interesting, because there was a wrestler who was called Jesus. He was in for a very short period of time. Does anyone know what he did to John Cena, Jesus? He stabbed him, didn't he? Yeah, he stabbed him. Now, that's not the Jesus I was brought up with. I don't know if that's some sort of Church of England thing, like where he stabs John Cena in a club instead of the.
It's very forgiving, isn't it?
It's not, no, because like I was watching week to week and kind of like I could see like, oh, Jesus, he's taking on John Cena. Jesus stabbed John Cena, and they called him Jesus. But on the title cards, it just said Jesus. And not being very familiar with Latin names, I was telling my friend, did John Cena fight Jesus at the pay-per-view?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's wrestling.
Have you got any other gimmick ideas?
We've been watching a lot of Catfish recently. Yeah. Great show. I thought a catfishing wrestler would be a great idea. I mean, it's kind of already been done with DDP and his weird stalker. And even then, again, because we all know that Vince McMahon actually did the stalking, did the little voiceover and just slowed it down. So he was catfishing The Undertaker as DDP.
Yeah.
As I mean, that's meta as fuck.
That is, seriously. I like the idea of a wrestler like kind of thinking that they're going to have a big pay-per-view match, and then it's just some like surly teenager from Arizona who's been catfishing him. You responded to my messages, you're just as culpable as I am, you know? Definitely. That has to happen, a catfishing wrestler.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on now to our main body of the show, where we're going to be looking at some of the silliest gimmicks. And this is the time where there needs to be a disclaimer at the top of the hour, where I say, if I've not included a wrestler or a gimmick that you think I should have, yes, it was a personal decision against you. And I'm getting my own back on all of you. So if there is any ones that I've missed out, it's either A, because of timing, or B, I don't want to give Joe all the chicken skin in the world, and then next week come back with some thighs or something. She's like, what's this? So I have held back some silly gimmicks, but I think we can definitely say we've got the silliest here. So we've got them into some categories, Joe, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through them. We're going to get some images on screen here. We'll have some videos and a little bit of a chat about the wrestler and see what Joe makes of them. These are all real, by the way, okay? Oh. That's the most important thing, even though it'll often seem that is not the case. So the first section is called Jobs for Jobbers. This is actually interesting, Joe. We could probably tie this into what you learned in wrestling this week.
Oh, God.
Could you get people up to speed about what happened with our Jobbers episode? Hey, has anyone listened to our Jobbers episode yet? Yeah? Joe, in case there's some shy people or liars in the audience, you know.
Shamed. Last week I learned in wrestling that there is a significant subculture of people who are sexually aroused by jobbers.
We have actually gotten 3 or 4 emails from jobbers who have told us, thank you for bringing this to light.
I feel there needs to be like a support group for jobbers.
I guess it's us basically now. So if you have been sexually objectified and are losing all your matches, howtowrestling.com, yeah? Tell us your story. I think there's a documentary in here.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay, so Jobs for Jobbers. A lot of these are going to come... anyone see the New Generation Project show earlier in the day? Yeah? Was it good? Yeah, awesome. Most of these guys appeared around what's referred to as the dark ages of WWF, which is the New Generation, where they had an idea that to make it more fun for kids, we should have wrestlers that have silly characters.
Like the Teletubbies.
Yeah.
They'd be great wrestlers, come on.
Yeah, why? Who do you think would be the kind of the badass of the group? I think Poe's got a fighting spirit.
Oh, dark side to Poe, definitely. Yeah. Although Tinky Winky, I never did trust him.
I just thought for a second, imagine being catfished by Tinky Winky. Like, it was Poe all along. Okay, our first job for a jobber, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. T.L. Hopper. T.L. Hopper, here we go. Can you guess what his gimmick is, Joe?
Is that a toilet plunger?
It is. It's Betsy was how he referred to his toilet plunger. He did give it a lady's name. You name boats and plungers after ladies, apparently. He was a wrestling plumber. And on his down...
He's not well dressed for that, wearing khakis. Come on now.
Maybe he's like a Tory plumber. I don't know, like with his blonde hair and his khaki pants. If we can get that image up again of him in a pool, because he's making a gesture in that pool. I want to see, Joe, if you can identify what's in his hand there in the pool. What is T.L. Hopper? What's he playing at?
Oh my God.
Is it a chocolate remote control? Go on, guess.
Is it a pull turd?
It is.
Can't
Yes, it
believe,
is.
I guess I hate wrestling now.
Don't know if you could make that image any worse. And there's Jerry
Why
Lawler
is
over
he giving
there.
it to Jerry Lawler? I mean, he deserves it, but...
What's he going to do with it? That's the real question, you know? So, yeah, Teal Hopper was brought in, and he was a plumber. And then he stopped wrestling. So that's the story of T.L. Hopper. So there we go. Okay, our next gimmick is one of my favorite all-time gimmicks, and it's also Mike Quackenbush's favorite all-time gimmick, the founder of Chikara. Ladies and gentlemen, the Repo Man! There he is! What's he planning? What's he gonna do?
Why is he dressed like a burglar?
The Repo Man, who, for reasons unknown to us, later became a golf player. Called Mr. Hole-in-One. Now, I told you, I've been trying to kind of allude to Jo what some of these gimmicks might be to kind of prepare her mentally. Look at him, he's like Wario come to life. I did tell you that one of our wrestlers would be based off of a TV show that we watched recently.
You wouldn't tell me which one.
Yeah, it's Can Pay, We'll Take It Away. If anyone's seen that on Netflix.
That's depressing. Imagine those poor families having their homes repossessed by him.
He would come into people's homes and he would take their car and they'd be like, hey, I've paid the car. And he's like, no, you've not. And he'd drive off. And his catchphrase was, I'm the Repo Man. And what's mine is mine. Fair enough. And what's yours is mine as well.
What a heel.
Seriously. And he was very subtle, the Repo Man. Very subtle indeed. Because when the Repo Man, Jo, when he would come to take something away, he would very subtly, he would do this. You know?
That's,
this was kind
yeah,
of
that's how you sneak.
That's how you do it. That's how the bailiffs do it.
Yeah, it is.
Can we get the pictures of him up as the golfer again, please? Because Joe's actually got a... I've got that toy, it's brilliant.
Has he been run over by a motorbike in that one?
tyre tracks.
He's got tyre tracks, why?
I assume because the Repo Man will get run over a lot by...
Of course, sorry, stupid question.
By his enemies. He once repoed Macho Man Randy Savage's hat.
Was it worth a lot?
I guess so.
I mean, it must have been.
Look, guys, if you can't afford a hat, don't go on one of those payment programs.
Like a payday loan.
Yeah, this bollocks will show up and take it off you. It'll be embarrassing. You've got a connection with golf, don't you?
That's true. I come from a family of golfers.
It's true. Mm-hmm. Any golfers in the audience?
No crossover there.
In the back, is there golfers? No?
No. Why would you?
I'm from a mini golf dynasty. Joe's from a golf dynasty. That's why we're a perfect match there. So, yeah, that's the Repo Man. And the fun thing about him, Barry Darsow, the man who played that, refuses to ever speak about the Repo Man.
We don't talk about the Repo Man.
It's like a dark part of his past he doesn't like. That he's fine with.
Of course. Yeah.
Repo Man. Okay, coming up next is one which you've seen before, but I think it's very important we can't include any list without Dr. Isaac Yankum,
Hey.
DDS.
There he is.
The next mayor of Glen County.
Was that the Undertaker there?
Yes.
Why was he wearing a Phantom of the Opera mask?
Well, you said earlier that he was silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, okay, right.
So he was an evil wrestling dentist. And can you guess what his wrestling dentist entrance music was?
Was it just a drill?
Yes!
Oh my God!
Yes! Unbelievable. Yeah, he came out to...
That's horrible.
And yeah, the plumber earlier, can you guess what his music was?
Just water, toilets flushing.
Yeah, again.
I'm so good at this.
Do you want to write for WWF in '95?
Yeah, hire me.
Seriously. Okay, coming up next... The Goon! Not necessarily a job, more of a calling. The Goon was an ice hockey player.
Oh, okay.
Now, here's an interesting fact. This gimmick was originally pegged for one of your favorite wrestlers, whose father was a famous hockey player. He was called in '95 to play it from Canada. That Chris Jericho was originally going to be.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and Jericho thought, you know what? Not for me.
What was he thinking?
His finishing move was that he would used to just run into people on the outside, you know, like in ice hockey, and then just kind of leave them there. What do you think of the footwear?
Oh, I love them. I want a pair of those.
I mean, they're not quite blades.
Platforms, they look like?
Lifts.
Lifts. Stylish.
I mean, we're laughing at him. He could have a genuine podiatry problem here. Sorry, chiropody, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So there's the goon. We're going to get a little bit religious now. Okay, you thought of Jesus earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, that's offensive. This, however, did make television. It's wrestling's first and only monk, Friar Ferguson. So your Friar Ferguson, hopefully appearing on the screen. There he is.
Wow, what a look.
Guess what? The Catholic Church opposed the use of Friar Ferguson.
Really? Has there ever been a wrestler who's been God?
There's been wrestling. I was going to save it for later in terms of the surprise, but we will be doing Vince McMahon very soon. So
He thinks he's a god.
yeah. Gee, God, he's pounding that strawberry wine.
Wait, what is that?
I think it's all monks are drunk, apparently. Oh, you know what that is? It's Buckfast.
Why is he drinking it out of a liver?
That's clearly a stomach.
I'm
honey.
so
Come on.
sorry.
So he had one match before they cancelled the gimmick. We will be seeing him later on, again, in tonight's proceedings, Friar Ferguson. The best story I could find out about Friar Ferguson, other than when I was Googling it, there's all these like threads from like GeoCities in like 99 and 2000 where people are like, it didn't actually happen. It's just some rumor. You know, it didn't actually happen. No one's seen the footage. But he got lost on the way back from the arena, apparently, and had to hitchhike. So he was out on New Jersey on the turnpike, dressed like that. So I think he was probably glad when the gimmick was over in the end.
Why? I mean, I'm sure you get picked up way easier if you're dressed like a monk. Right?
Would you, Hans, if you would pick up a monk on the side of the road?
Yeah. Only a few of you
Very
are not going to hell.
Yeah, seriously.
The rest of you, though.
Uncharitable bunch. All right, we've got, let's see, 2 more we'll do in this section. We've had wrestling bailiffs, wrestling plumbers, dentists, hockey players, monks, wrestling bin man! Yay!
For fuck's sake.
Duke the Dumpster Drosy. This is great. It's like I'm doing the gimmick battle royale for WrestleMania, and I'm just introducing y'all. He holds a pinfall win over Triple H.
Wow. You know what I love about this gimmick, though, is that trash collectors actually have a union, unlike wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean,
Them playing a life which they wish they had.
Most of these jobber guys with their jobs, why would you get into wrestling like? You've got a 401k, for fuck's sake. He has went on in recent years to be an activist, helping kids get off drugs and all that. It's a good boy.
That's nice.
Duke Drumsey. My brother was obsessed with him because he was a bin man. And,
Of course, yeah.
Obsessed with him, like, very
All
much
children all love bin men.
I mean, I used to have a maths teacher who, if he ever heard anyone talking shit about bin men, he'd be like, lads, my mate's a bin man. He goes home at lunchtime. So...
That is a fair point.
I can't argue with that, like, you know.
No.
Plus, sweet fucking duds, look at that.
Did he use trash as a weapon, then?
He would sometimes pour trash on people afterwards, yes. Very rarely hit people with his bin, though.
I'd be, like, dropping banana skins down and, like, watch people fall over on them and stuff.
I think what they should do is do a heel gimmick with him, like they've done with our county council, and just be like, I'm coming every other week now instead. Suck it, Marks. Where's Duke Drosy? He's meant to be here. He only comes every 3 weeks now. Oh, for... Okay, last one. I did say that there was a wrestler who, it's pretty much certain, given who wrote the character, just watched an episode of Seinfeld and then just said, yeah, we'll have that then. So could you think, you're a fan of Seinfeld?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Any Seinfeld fans in the audience? Yeah. This is very grim. What about it? So if you could think, scan quickly through your Seinfeld head. It's not Jerry Seinfeld, even though that would be a great gimmick.
Yeah.
He is a Jerry Seinfeld. What do you think it could be?
I mean, if it was me, I had to pick someone from Seinfeld and make a gimmick out of it, I would definitely choose Elaine. And, like, I think I've said this before on the podcast, and have her finisher be the big salad.
You have Jim Ross go,
My
I didn't
God.
just hit her with a salad. He hit her with the big
big salad. So it's not Elaine, even though, I mean, I think Emma used to have a bad dancing gimmick, which is very like Elaine and Seinfeld did that. No, this is the Maestro.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Jesus.
It's like Ric Flair's like kind of crap doppelganger.
Poundland, Ric Flair.
No, we can't. We actually had someone who got really upset when we used Poundland as an adjective. So I'm stopping that now.
You do it lovingly. I love Poundland.
I know, but I think if you use it as an adjective, people think it comes from a place of hate.
No, it's love every time,
comes from a place of love, yeah. So the Maestro was pretty much insisted on being called the Maestro all the time, aimed to be like a great conductor of classical music, but didn't really do that much of it. So I think Vince Russo watched an episode of Seinfeld and thought, yeah, I'll have that.
I love
Easy.
his jacket.
Yeah, isn't it? Very, very
I want
beautiful.
one of those.
And he is still wrestling on the indies. Can't use the term Maestro because it is copyrighted. So he calls himself Stro.
That's so bad. That's awful.
It'd be great, yeah. It's like, oh no, it's not Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. It's Brock Lesnar versus Stro, man. I would pay to see Brock Lesnar kill that man.
Yeah.
What would he do with that baton?
Before you move on to the next section,
Yep.
I actually have my own idea for a job for a jobber.
Please.
Proctologist. Oh. That would be a good-ass gimmick.
Hey!
Hey. Worth every penny for these tickets.
I mean, there is someone who used to come out to music that said, I'm an ass man.
Yeah.
And also Vince McMahon has donned the mantle of a would-be proctologist at one point in his career.
Really?
So there's a lot more ass men than you'd think in wrestling, you know, quite a few. Ass people, really, there's a lot of them.
Any number of ass men is more than I would have expected in wrestling.
Coming up next is my favorite section. It's called Copyright. What copyright? Hey! So we have got, I mean, I went into this thinking, I've got my one or two I want to hear here, and I actually managed to find a couple of ones that I didn't know exist. I started looking up about Gilbert. Gilbert we talked about in our Goldberg episode. How would you describe Gilbert, Joe?
He's a small Goldberg. Easy.
Just for around the house, like.
Yeah.
A little small
Pocket Goldberg.
You like our trial size? Consider the main one, you know? But he actually had another gimmick where he decided, I want to get more bookings. You know, times are tight. It is the early 90s. So let's form the tag team of the Battling Turtles. So the Battling Turtles. John, you said you get the Ninja Turtles for the kids' party. Who are they? They're the Battling Turtles. They're half the price. Stop it. Jesus. That's going to replace the car crash in my nightmares.
Imagine wrestling in that. It would be horrible. That would be hell. You can't see or hear.
They interviewed Gilbert and they're like, was it really hard to wrestle there? He's like, yeah, it was really hard. It was really hard, it was really uncomfortable, and we hated doing it.
It looks awful. That is so bad.
But like, apparently what he would do was he would just show up. Like, he'd show up to shows. If like WWF were in town or WCW were in town or Smoky Mountain were in town, he'd show up and he'd just have the two costumes and be like, do you want Ninja Turtles? And they're like, yeah, all right.
So did they have like, were they named after the actual Ninja Turtles?
They never made it onto TV. They were only used on dark matches and house shows.
But did they have names?
As far as I could tell, it was Battling Turtle #1 and Dwayne Gill. Coming up next. Now, at least WWF could see that and Vince would be like kind of, oh, hang on a minute there, pal. We don't want no problem with those Ninja Turtles. I hear they're ultimate fighting machines. So we got WCW, who obviously didn't have that problem, and they went straight for the jugular. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your friendly neighborhood, Arachnaman! Yay!
Wow.
Arachnaman!
Was that string he was shooting out?
I mean, string is a bit of a, it's like, if the phrase had physical form, that's what it would be.
It looks like those old curly shoelaces that you used to get if you didn't want to tie up your laces properly.
Imagine if Spider-Man had, that's all he had to go on, like his curly laces. I've done a song for him. Arachnaman, Arachnaman, different from Spider-Man. Spin a web, any size. No one cares about trademark, guys. Look out. He is Arachnaman, an original character. Don't steal. Arachnaman, guess what happened to his career?
I hope they were sued by insert whichever company it is that earns the rights for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Marvel did sue him. Yeah.
Did they?
They did.
I hope they didn't sue the actual wrestler.
Be Arachnaman, but I don't want to do it. Now you're being sued. Worst career ever. Like. No, he just had to stop doing it. Like, I'd like to know who's got that Arachnaman outfit.
Yeah, that's so in someone's loft, isn't it?
Seriously. It looks like it's kind of like the prototype for Putty Patrol from Power Rangers. Okay, coming up next, from a movie which we watched recently, you enjoyed. We played the game of it, which I think was a little bit better. If you could pick one character or one group from The Warriors, the movie, The Warriors, who do you think from The Warriors would be a good gimmick to have in wrestling, do you think?
I'd have gone probably for the mimes.
Yeah, the hi-hats.
They're creepy.
They are creepy. There's been some wrestling mimes in Chikara, hasn't there? No Chikara fans here. Goodness great. Has there been wrestling mimes generally? Yeah, but not that their actual whole gimmick was that they were mimes trapped in boxes and whatnot. No.
You know, it makes such a good heel.
It would.
It'd be awful.
It's funny because Adam, who's over there, Adam actually, his wrestling character used to make in the wrestling games was a mime. So as of now, no one's nicked your gimmick. So you want to give this podcast and stuff the old heave-ho and just train to be a wrestler and do that. Money, yeah? Okay, so we can't do the hi-hats.
Okay.
Who do you think would be someone else from the Warriors?
I apologise, I don't know any of the team names.
Oh, it's okay.
The baseball guys.
Yes! Boom! Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. Let's get him up on the screen.
Hey! That's cool.
That is
cool. That's terrifying and cool.
Look how sad he is.
Yeah, he hates his life, doesn't he?
What decisions have led him to this point, like? So yeah, his name was Abe Knuckleball Schwartz, and it is the Brooklyn Brawler.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
It is!
Double duty, like.
So did he do this before he was the Brooklyn Brawler?
He did Brooklyn Brawler, and then there was like a baseball strike in America, and it was on the TV, and it was like all these baseball players going on strike. So this lad just showed up and it was like, boo, we hate baseball, the national pastime. I mean, he could come over here and do the circuit in England and be like, my rules of my game are confusing. You think it's like rounders, but oh no. So, yeah, there's Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. Vince McMahon had not seen The Warriors, in case you're wondering of that. Now, coming up next is one from one of your favorite movies of all time. You said this is a movie that I think it's something we bonded over quite early because every Christmas when I was a kid, I used to watch this movie with my dad. Very special animated feature. I think you said you used to watch this movie quite a lot as well, if you know what it is.
No. I mean, if I had to guess, like, because my favourite movie is being John Malkovich. Are you saying that there's a wrestler whose gimmick is that they are John Malkovich? Because that would be great.
Yeah,
or even, like, controlled by John Malkovich inside their head.
Or it is John Malkovich being controlled by like, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Vince McMahon, like, the
Never
levers.
giving up. No, it's from the Yellow Submarine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Yellow Submarine. The bad guys in the Yellow Submarine. And this is great because this person is genuinely one of the most lovely wrestlers ever. When the Edge Air podcast started off, we literally had like 10 followers. This lad tweeted about us. It was really nice, and he's really, really cool. And he's done his gimmick so well that people forget that it is pretty much straight lifted from the Yellow Submarine. It is the Blue Meanie!
That looks nothing like a blue meanie. I'm very disappointed.
The blue.
He's not blue.
Look, he's got a little blue goatee. And
Blue meanies didn't have goatees.
didn't they? I mean, do you think he should have had the big fuzzy ball? Like,
Yeah.
The long ears.
Yeah, I think so.
Now-
Go full hog.
What would you describe the Blue Meanies in the Yellow Submarine? What were they all about, like?
I don't remember them wearing denim cutoffs.
Should have.
I mean, it's a good look. They were blue.
Yeah, they hate music as well, didn't they?
They hated music, yeah.
Oh, now Blue Meanie, contrary to not even looking really that much like the Blue Meanies, I dispute that. But he loved music, and I've been teaching him how to do a special dance. And it's actually for this man's music. Ash, Joe and I want to do a little dance now. So if you could cue up, and if anyone, do you know the dance? Who knows the dance? With the blue meanie dance. Yeah? If you want to join along in the crowd, feel free to do it. Let's just demonstrate quickly, if we could, please. And we've got, that's our kind of reference point. So you want to be kind of a little bit like that, okay? So if we could have the music, please. There you go, a little bit
Like this.
Here we go. Everyone's doing it. Look at the cool people at the back.
Oh, wait.
Excellent, good job. Very good. Now, I notice a few fake wrestling fans going like, what's going on when he does this? This bit here. He did it once or twice. Keep up, yeah? Okay, so I think we've got... Oh, I don't want to do this one. Jesus. Right, do you know a thing called Leave It to Beaver? It's,
No.
Just leave, lads. It's grand. Like, we'll just... Leave It to Beaver. I think we actually watched an episode of Penn and Teller about people who were obsessed with it. It's like, you know, it was like with the old like 50s sitcoms back in America where it was like kind of wholesome family, you know, mom makes dinner, dad, hello son, I've got a pipe and slippers and life lessons out the fucking wazoo.
Right, yeah.
And a little boy called Beaver Cleavage.
What the fuck?
Okay, so this is
Why
Beaver
would you name
Cleavage.
a child that?
Put him up on screen here, please. Yeah, there he is. And his mother. Oh, jeez. That's him crying because he's not got enough milk for his cereal.
Oh, God.
And there's one thing about WWF in the Attitude Era. Loved a little bit of incest overtones. Not actual incest, that would be offensive. Overtones, though, are fine. So that's his mother. That busty woman, and they did a thing. Literally, somehow I can see myself moving further away from Joe. I was just going, no. So, can we get the one where he's crying over his cereal, please? I need to explain this. He knows what's going on. So, he was annoyed because his shredded wheat were too dry. And then the busty lady comes in and goes, but mother's milk is always good.
Oh, no! Why? Why do I do this podcast? Why do I watch wrestling?
Just think, I watched that when I was a boy.
Oh, no.
And you know the best thing about it? This is classic WWF attitude era. When you and I get into the attitude era and how to wrestling, it's going to be an absolute shitstorm, I'm sure. But they thought, okay, this angle doesn't work, it's bad. They dropped it. They did an angle where he was like he was on the microphone. He's like, I don't want to do this shit anymore, man. And he walked off. And they thought, okay, bit offensive. Let's pivot into an angle about him beating his girlfriend.
Oh, Jesus.
He's had a fairly unfortunate run of it. And he follows us on Twitter, actually. There's Chaz. Really good entrance music, though. Like, really good.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Is this sponsored by Shredded Wheat? Because they've got shredded wheat there.
Seriously.
They must have given their permission to use it, right?
I like that they've got shredded wheat, but they have just pulled down the box ever so slightly, so no lawsuits.
Which is good, because they're talking about mother's milk, which is definitely wanting to associate with your brand.
Oh, God in heaven. Okay, I feel depressed now. We need to liven up a little bit, okay? We're moving away from the copyright infringing incest into something that we're all very excited about. There's going to be some videos in this section. Joe, I hear you like wizards.
I fucking love wizards.
Hey, let's see that right there. Let's see that sign, please. Bring that up.
Poorly drawn off.
Poorly drawn. Mate, Oz is poorly drawn in real life.
I love that moustache. It's beautiful.
So, if you've not been following on recent episodes, we were watching the Scott Hall documentary. And to say that Joe squealed with excitement when she saw, quote, tiny wizards.
Fucking love tiny wizards. All wizards of every shape and size.
So, it's something that you and I, when I first met you, I come to realize that Joe's got fantastic taste because she loves Wario. And that was like literally the first day we found out we shared a love of Wario. And garlic, kind of related.
Yeah.
And also you mentioned that you loved wizards.
Yeah, I love wizards. I've always been obsessed with wizards. I have wizard statues at my parents' house. Didn't bring them with me to my new home. But I actually invented a game called Street Wizards in my youth. And I thoroughly encourage everyone to play, and I'll tell you the rules now, because it's a good, fun game. You play it while you're out and about, And if you see a man with a beard, that's 1 point, okay? 1 wizard point. If he's wearing a hat, that's another point. Any kind of coat, basically, that's another point. A familiar dog, any animal, another point. Walking stick again, because that's a mystic cane. You can really, there's like, the sky's the limit with street wizards.
It's funny, because I remember going into, we went to your local village, and we went into the butcher's there, and there was fuck tons of like wizards.
Yeah,
It was
loads,
like,
yeah.
whoa.
That's why I worked there.
The guy with like an orb and shit. It's amazing.
So cool.
So this video we're going to watch now, it's going to be the debut of Oz. And there's a couple of things I want to say. If you've seen the Oz video before, this is going to be a familiar territory. Joe, you have to pay close attention because there's a lot of things going on here. I've watched this video a lot recently. There's a lot of very little things that I've picked up on that I love a lot, particularly the fact that there is a monkey here, and the monkey decides quite early on he's having none of it, and he takes a powder. So keep an eye on the monkey. Where does he go? And also as well, Dusty Rhodes is on commentary, and he's trying to put over how, like, his audio is quite poor. This is on the network, and even still, there's like VHS track lines on it for some reason. But Dusty Rhodes tries to put this over by saying, I've been to an all-night fair, Daddy, but I ain't seen nothing like this. Now, I want to go to an all-night fair.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. It's 1 a.m. Funnel cake. Woo! So, ladies and gentlemen, if we could dim the lights, please, and we are going to look at the mystical, all-powerful Oz. All the pictures of him are so low res. Our illustrator actually had a real problem with him because I'm like, he has no pupils. And he's like, but he does. Like, every picture you showed me is just such low quality that it looks like he has no eyes. Your initial reaction to Oz, the Great and Powerful?
He looks like he's melting. His moustache is like falling off, and I don't like the rubber mask. Could they not have just put Kevin Nash in like a bigger beard and the hat? And why the mask?
Well, the reason they decided to do this is that Kevin Nash had just signed, and he was a big dude, 7 foot, legitimate, looked like a beast. They thought, okay, The Wizard of Oz is a great movie. The parent company this is like what I was able to piece together, because once you get to a certain level of silliness in wrestling, people start reporting on it properly. What I heard was that WCW, their parent company, had just purchased Turner, which is owned by Ted Turner. They owned the rights to The Wizard of Oz, the original Judy Garland movie. And they thought, synergy, cross-promotion. It's 1992, the time is right for this to happen. So that was where the memo started. And then obviously it reached the wrestling people, and they're like, okay, can you get a monkey and a shower curtain? Very similar to our shower curtain.
Exactly the same, yeah.
Exactly. I think you can use that as a green screen afterwards to do his promos. But genuinely, I think the people who made this gimmick haven't seen The Wizard of Oz.
Really? You think so?
I mean, like Oz in The Wizard of Oz, he is the wizard, isn't he?
No, this is Oz with Wizard.
Who's Oz then?
So that's Oz, and he was accompanied with the other wizard.
The Great Wizard. Because they said at the start there was a wizard who ruled over, but it wasn't the wizard you think, it was the Great Wizard.
So why is the Great Wizard there?
To guide Oz, and also to let people know that they're almost at Oz. You know, as he kept saying, welcome to Oz, welcome to Oz, welcome to Oz, and then they're like within a feet, he goes, we're almost at Oz.
Nearly there.
I've got a feeling we're not in Kansas almost anymore, we're almost at Oz. So, yeah, it didn't go well for Kevin Nash. Doesn't like talking about Oz.
Was this before he was known as Kevin Nash?
Yes. So before he was Vinny Vegas and he was with DDP, like DDP, like literally, like this is when he started talking to DDP and it was like, maybe we can do something not so shit, please. So yeah, he had to do that for a couple of months. They started off, he killed everyone. Oz was like big and he slammed it with his cool finisher.
So did he wear the mask all the time?
No, he just wore it when he came out, then took it off, went like that.
Why?
To mind games.
Has there been any other wrestlers that have worn weird face rubber masks like that and then taken them off?
Like, there have been people who've had, like, face masks or masks that have been like face, but never where it's like, I'm not wearing this shit, fuck it. Like,
You know, you get those really creepy, like, Tony Blair rubber masks. That should totally be someone's gimmick.
Like, where we are at the moment, where me and Adam were reviewing all of SmackDown for the ATR podcast, and every other week someone's wearing a Vince McMahon mask, which is very scary.
I bet.
Scarier than that, almost. But, yeah, as with most things, you know, when Oz first debuted, we had his 20-minute introduction with his fireworks and his guitar music. And then he just started losing. And then he just stopped wearing the mask and just came out in his shower curtain. Which is bad, because when he's not wearing the mask, you can see how pissed off he is. He's like...
Did he at least wear the hat, or is it attached to the mask?
It's all in one. All in one.
Oh, that's sad.
Now, the one thing about Oz, even though he hates it, and like you could tell that people, their socks weren't blown off, no matter what the announcers were saying. But Oz was really over in one place in the world. So WCW did a very small tour of Japan around this time. And when Oz was coming out, the crowd all started going, Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy. Because he's this big fucking wizard. And that's like, yeah, man. Give him a sword, he'll be in the next Final Fantasy game, for fuck's sake. Like. So, there's Oz. Kevin Nash, you know.
I don't like wizards anymore.
I don't know,
Ruined.
Kevin Nash, he's woke on Twitter now. He's no longer a Trump supporter, I think. Keeping us guessing. We got another wizard coming up. This is less of a wizard, more of a magic man. Ladies and gentlemen, this man made one appearance in WWE. His name is Fantasio. Fantasio. Look at that look. Whoa.
That outfit. Holy shit.
Isn't that a great look?
Oh, it's sexy.
Really? I got a little thing for mimes all of a sudden. Whoa, look at that guy. Huh?
Yeah.
His other name was Spellbinder. He had one match in WWE, unfortunately, and then he was given the heave-ho. He is definitely one of those wrestlers who has edited his own Wikipedia page. Because he talks about that one match, it's like 3 paragraphs. And then it's like, and then on May 9th, 1995, he came back and wasn't used, but he was backstage. And they told him they'd give him a call. He used to pull that ribbon out of his mouth.
Oh.
Now, can you guess what a magic... Where's it been? It's a tapeworm. Should have done this after lunch. His finishing move was magic. Now, can you think of a magical finishing move? This is the height of David Copperfield, you know? This is the height of David Copperfield. Before, you know, one of his... people accused him of sexual harassment and he got someone seriously injured in a stunt that went wrong. So the height to David Copperfield before that. What do you think his magical finisher would be if you're to do a magic finisher?
I hope it involves something to do with like a top hat and a rabbit. Like, I don't know, throwing people in a top hat and then they become a rabbit.
Pin the rabbit like, oh, come on.
1, 2, 3.
Referee's got a hold of the fluff for God, Jesus sake. No, he would remove the underpants of his opponent. That's really impressive. Like, he'd just be, and the wrestler would be like, what if you, whoa! That's, and in the confusion, 1, 2, 3, you know?
Is that a kayfabe thing, or did he actually remove the underwear?
That'd be great. Yeah, it's like kind of a Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton situation. Like, you go backstage, you weren't meant to pull off his underwear, man. Well, it wasn't cool. And he took off the referee's underwear as well.
Oh my God.
And the referee's underwear was striped like a referee should.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Which, as a result, every time I see a referee, I'm like, have they got the stripes? They got the stripes.
So were there like really silly underpants that he ended up pulling out?
There's Y fronts.
Oh, always?
Well, he only had one match.
Oh, okay.
He only got 2 de-jockings because he's like, I'm probably out the door. Come here, ref. You know? He's probably doing it to fans in the audience, and that's probably what it said. Actually, you know, Spellbinder, could you go away, please? And also, my favorite thing in wrestling, someone who wears a mask and removes it to reveal identical face paint underneath.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Mind games. Another mythical creature, this time from ancient Greece, I think. Half man, half Thor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mantor! Are they saying moo or boo? I don't know, did he say something really racy online or something? Like, get him off here.
He's adorable.
Oh.
I want a little plush of him.
Let's give him a hug, come on.
Just saying though, those gold pants with a little strip of fur, Good luck. Getting some of those for Kevin.
Just for around the house.
It looks like he's wearing a one-piece over the gold pants.
He is. It's kind of one big fluffy piece
Like a
that
sexy
he would wear.
play suit.
Yeah, this is basically if I don't shave for 3 weeks. Horns and all, Mantor, have you seen the other pictures of Mantor that I sent? There's pictures of him eating, and I really want to show those. Are they up there by any chance? Whoa!
Oh.
Put it back on, mate.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, and what I think is very hilarious is that anytime I search for pictures of Mantor, God, he's dead inside, isn't he? But when I was looking for pictures of Mantor, all these pictures came up. Mate, he's a half cannibal. He's eating cow, right? Oh, sorry, does no one else think this is a problem? Feed a cat, it's okay.
It's only half cow.
It's only half problematic.
So he can eat man as well, and again, it's fine.
There was a feature in WWF magazine where Jim Cornette had to take Mantor off to eat dinner, and he embarrassed him. Look at the state of him. He's got all over his face in his good, clean clothes. The main problem with Mantor was that because of Mantor's headpiece, can we get back to the picture of him with his full garb, please, Ash, if you don't mind? His headpiece was such a way that he couldn't actually enter the ring normally, like he couldn't go in like that. It would bop and fall off. So he had to very slowly climb over the ropes like it was a ladder and carefully go back in, which when you think about it, isn't the scariest or most intimidating thing.
Could they not? I mean, he takes it off anyway. It seems like the solution is to just, before he goes in the ring.
This always happens in wrestling where someone is like, oh, wow, look at that. Oh, it's just a wrestler. Like if I was a kid, I would be very annoyed that he took that off.
I'm annoyed that he took that off because he's scary underneath.
And he
I
was
like
cuddly.
that man.
You wanted to cuddle him now. And,
Yeah.
Don't know anymore.
No.
Mantor. So there was actually a wrestler called Minotaur in WCW who didn't even have a cow head. He was just some bloke. Ridiculous.
Lazy.
We got another video coming up, another mythical beast. This is great because I remember when we first went out, you told me that you had a special recipe based on a Legend of Zelda game they used to make. Do you know what it was?
Yeah, from Twilight Princess,
Yeah.
and they make the stew.
Yeah, do you remember what it was?
The Yeti stew.
Yeah, did someone say Yeti? It's time for a wrestling Yeti. We've got a Yeti sign over there. Now, I always wondered if it was one of these English things, where people pronounce it Yeti or Yeti.
I've never heard it pronounced Yeti.
You're about to hear it pronounced Yeti a whole ton, a lot.
That can't be to avoid copyright. It's not like Yeti is copyrighted.
National Yeti Association. Ski freak, I've got a trademark on
Excuse
Yeti.
me, you have to change that.
Okay, we have a video of the Yeti. See if you can spot what's wrong with this picture. WCW once again. No, I'm not picking on them. They are generally that crap. Lights up, please. Can we pass that sign up to the front there, please, just so we can get the spelling correctly, just in case you've been spelling Yeti wrong and pronouncing it your whole life incorrectly. There we go. So, complete with toilet paper, hopefully not used. The Yeti. Learn the word. That's how it works
beautiful.
in wrestling, everyone.
That's so cool.
The Yeti. Very good. Thanks for the sign, James.
Why?
So there was a group called the Dungeon of Doom. I know, it's very scary and troubling. So, guys, I know it's daytime, but we're getting very spooky now with this kind of scary horror. We thought, we'll go to a fun wrestling show. Didn't know there'd be, spooky ghosts coming up here, So there's a group called the Dungeon of Doom, and they wanted to destroy Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania, which is, Hulkamania is kind of the fluid, the essence, the tactile sensation of being a Hulk Hogan fan. I'm told it's horrible. And the Yeti was encased in a block of ice. And
That's not how you preserve a corpse. I mean, it's one way. But if you're already going to mummify them...
It's mixed, isn't it?
The extra layer of ice is unnecessary. You've got the formaldehyde already done. You don't need anything else.
The ancient Egyptians who, of course, would bind their leaders and then freeze them in a giant block of ice in Egypt in ancient times. So he came out of the block of ice and he was going to destroy Hulk Hogan, wasn't he? And he came out and he, I'll tell you what, I'll demonstrate. If you come up here, I'll demonstrate, okay?
Oh my God.
Now, guys, don't try this at home, okay? It's very, very scary. It's very, very dangerous indeed, okay?
This is nice. I like this.
Yeah, so
I like the Yeti.
I've not done it right then, I don't think. So, it's a mummy though, isn't it? It's not a Yeti.
Yeah, why have they called it the Yeti?
Well, they call it the Yeti. That's their kind of get out, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, but the mummy was taken on Twitter or what?
I am so calling my mother after this going, hi, Mummy. Is Today around? Because I need to talk to him. He didn't make much of an appearance. He appeared once or twice afterwards. He was turned into like super ultra ninja after this. They just changed, you know, you might as well like. His one claim to fame was that Goldberg, when he was training, he was in the power plant and he started doing his finisher, the jackhammer. He said, I wanted to see if I could do it on anyone. So he did it on him like 10 times in a row in training. He's like, oh, I can. That's his claim to fame. It's not a great career, really. It is used-looking toilet paper as well.
I loved how awkward that whole match was. It was really like, oh, am I supposed to be doing this now? Or I'll just wait a second. You guys get on with it, and then I'll come in at the end.
And you can tell as well, like, after this one thing when he walks off and he hugs Hulk Hogan, he's like, oh, I'm not doing this again. I really wish he wrestled a match in that stuff. Like, you know, Scooby-Doo could come out and pull it and reveal who it is. Like,
Has there ever been a Bigfoot wrestler?
There was a guy called Giant Gonzalez used to wear kind of like a Bigfoot bodysuit type of thing.
No, I mean like a wrestler that's like, you know, have they ever been seen before?
Oh, just a glimpse thing.
I don't believe, you know, they really exist.
I mean, that's not a Sasquatch, is it? No. You know, that's what Yeti is simply an Arctic Sasquatch, really, when you think. I'm a cryptozoologist as well as a real zoologist, so, you know, it's troubling on many fronts, you know. Okay, we're going to look at another mythical being. There's one thing which I'd say that they probably overdid a lot on television, video games, media. It was zombies. They overdid a lot of zombies, didn't they? Yeah. And unfortunately, WWE decided, let's get on board the zombie train. When Paul Heyman was at the front and they were going to relaunch Paul Heyman's pet project, it was ECW. And we've not done a lot about ECW. We talked about Paul Heyman on a previous episode, and he wanted ECW to be counterculture, in your face, cutting edge. Those were the kind of the main tenets of this promotion. So it was brought back, and this is the first ever match that was shown on the new ECW. And Paul Heyman, presumably after this, did a little cry. So if we could play the zombie now, please, we're going to see the zombie. This is the first thing we saw from the new ECW. Thank you.
I can't believe you didn't say brains once.
Ridiculous.
Also, on trend with that cold shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Been on ASOS recently. Very on trend.
The dust, the residue, what is that? Is it like asbestos or something?
Honey, he's a corpse. Duh.
What, do corpses let off dust?
He's been buried and he's clawed his way out of the grave.
Oh.
It's like dirt and stuff.
I'm starting to feel that you like this zombie.
I love this zombie. This is great.
Fucking A. I can reveal at this point in time that we will be, because it has been officially requested by one of our backers on Patreon, who insists that Joe needs to learn about that angry, ugly man. No, not the zombie, that one over there, the one with the stick, the Sandman. We'll be doing an episode on him in the not-too-distant future, so... He's
a bold bloke, seeing as he cut his head open at the beginning, and zombies can smell blood.
That's true. The zombie smelled that, and he was like, ooh, supper, you know?
Power move.
So, yeah, that was great, particularly because... the ending with him saying, well, the first official match of the new ECW is over. So,
thank God.
You know, as Paul Heyman said, you know, in the 90s, Nirvana came and boom, it blew away all that kind of old, tired stuff that was out there. In 2008, the zombie came and, oh God, what did they do that for? Oh. Okay, our last section is got a couple of different names. Ash reprimanded poopery because it's you know, miscellaneous things that don't belong that are terrible. I've decided to call this I Can't Explain This. Now, time travel in wrestling, Joe.
I mean, they go hand in hand, aren't they? It's like fish and chips.
It is, absolutely. Fish and chips, time travel in wrestling. There was a gimmick that they were going to do back in the day, apparently. There was a wrestler who wanted to have... there was a writer who had an idea for a gimmick, was that it was like... was like a Nazi that had been frozen, like, in time and was going to come back in the... Yeah, terrible, awful. So instead, we've got something that did make it to the cut. This is someone from the future. And of course, the future, as we all know, is way off in the distance. The year 2000. This is Techno Team 2000. Whoa!
They're handsome.
Careful, if we interfere with them, we'll change the timeline, like, you know. So, what do you think of that look?
I mean, it's what we were all wearing in the year 2000, wasn't it? I remember I was 10. I was definitely wearing that.
Yeah. It's kind of like a tunic almost, isn't it? Like, you know. So we got Travis and Troy. Futuristic names.
Why have they got Frodo written on them?
Frodo? Because they're hobbit heads, honey. You know?
Frodo from the future.
Seriously. They've been to the year 2000 and they've got Lord of the Rings fever. Like, you know, it's coming out next year. They've got all the Warhammer pre-orders. They're really excited. So TT2K, as they were never known, fun fact, one of their fathers is a racist. So there you go. So back in the 90s when we were all obsessed with the millennium, these guys came along and the idea was that they were going to be cutting edge, futuristic wrestlers with kind of moves that we'd never seen before. They've been to the year 2000 and your great-great-great-granddaughter is pretty fine. Like. They were really, really into it. And they were futuristic because they would both leapfrog over their opponents at the same time.
How is that futuristic?
Never been done before. The year 2000. Now we all do it, of course. These guys were ahead of their time. Literally, they were ahead of their time. So Travis and Troy, the favorite thing I have about this was that I was desperate trying to find stuff about these two. You know, like there was such little stuff about them. There was more stuff about like the zombie and, you know, guys who'd only appeared for once. These guys had 3 or 4, you know, 5 or 6 appearances. They came back a few times. But if you Google Techno Team 2000, the first thing you get taken to is a playlist on WWE.com, which is the most boring tag teams. Not just the most boring tag teams, it is just the most boring tag teams. So,
did they ever talk about what they saw in the future?
Leapfrogs. And they would seldom tag, so, you know.
Did they ever reveal how they travelled through time?
No, they unfortunately, no one cared enough to kind of... That shows you how boring they were. They were literally from the future. People were like, oh, could you maybe tell us about, like, some of the stuff that's happening? No, don't talk to them. They're boring. Like, they'll just try and leapfrog over you at the same time.
That zombie, though, let's give him a promo.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, another tag team. This is my all-time favorite terrible tag team gimmick. What happens at the start of every wrestling contest? Ding, ding, ding. We ring that bell. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ding Dongs! Yeah!
Are you fucking serious?
That's the man who invented them. There they are.
What are they?
Ding and Dong.
Are they supposed to be bells?
They're little bell men. There's Ding and there's Dong, and together they are known as the Ding Dongs. And they had these little bells, and they would just ring them non-stop throughout the entire match. Ding, 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 ding. Now, as you all know, there's nothing more fun than listening to the sound of a bell going over and over and over again. Oh, God. They had one match, and in that match, Jim Ross said at the end, and it's over. Oh, God almighty, that was horrible. Now, he always tries to kind of put a good shine on physical match, don't break out the star rating system. The Ding Dongs, though, oh my God, that was horrible. So they were invented by Jim Hurd, who's the man we saw at the buffet. There he is.
Could you really call that inventing? That's a stretch of the term.
Conceiving, actualizing. He's got a very big flower.
Yeah.
The size of that thing. That was the gimmick that he got made. He wanted a different one, though. His tag team gimmick that Jim Hurd wanted was the Hunchbacks.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The Hunchbacks who could never be beaten because you could never pin their shoulders to the mat.
Oh, my God.
So, unfortunately, basically what he did there was like, he kind of, you know when you're playing a game, it's like, yeah, but what if I do this? And, oh, you've broken the game, yeah. My D&D campaign doesn't work, you've thought about it too much. So that's what happened to him. He broke wrestling with his amazing ideas. Maybe Jim Hurd had a word with Techno Team 2000 and saw into the future, you know? Coming up next, we have got a Nordic wrestler who's never really explained where he came from. this man used to grab his hand and chant, "Huss, huss, 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 it's the Berserker!" And he's doing that like silly tongue that I used to do when I had to try and concentrate on things. Has anyone else done that when it's kind of, you're kind of really trying to focus on something, the silly tongue? He's got a sword and a shield.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, but that is exactly like one of those really cheap knockoff Halloween outfits that you get everywhere. That's
Sexy
so
Viking.
short, and it is very sexy.
Isn't it? Hey, if John Nord's got legs, I say show him off. Am I right?
And he has.
Yeah. He was involved, I looked on Wikipedia, it's like, he's involved in a feud with The Undertaker that involves him trying to hit him with his sword. And what he would do was, because he was the Berserker and he didn't play by nobody's rules, okay? And as we all know, Skyrim belongs to the John Nords. He would throw people out of the ring and get a count-out victory and go huss, 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 huss. No idea why.
There's literally, what? No one knows.
No one knows.
What does huss mean?
Anyone know?
Fish.
Is type of fish? Yeah. I don't know if that's what he was on about, though, man. I think it was kind of like a war chant. What's it like? Huss, huss. You know,
I mean, Vikings eat fish, right?
They do. They're mostly.
Did. I mean, they're obviously not around now.
Most Vikings are Episcopalian, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Okay, coming up next, someone we saw from earlier. This was Friar Ferguson. They thought, okay, Friar Ferguson, that gimmick didn't work. There's no room for monks in wrestling. But there is room for whatever this is. Ladies and gentlemen, Bastion Booger. Whoa.
Wow. Oh.
It's like if my dad at your dad.
Oh. I feel really bad for that man.
He went with it.
Was it his idea? That's a surprise.
Vince McMahon was like, okay, let's do this.
He looks really sad.
He obviously was in such a great mood after having to be a wrestling monk. And then he comes back after, you know, hitchhiking in New Jersey. He's like, why don't you be this instead? Like, what even is that ring gear? It's literally designed to make the body as unflattering as possible.
It's unique, though. I do like it in that respect.
It is, yeah, very
Never
unique.
seen anything like that before.
He used to eat junk food, donuts. He would lose his matches all the time because he would get distracted and start eating food instead. And his entrance music, you've been pretty much par for the course. Jesus.
What is that in his mouth?
I don't know. It's like looking into the sun. I can't look into it long enough to find out. So his entrance music was...
I'm glad we're facing away from this.
Hey, everyone. His entrance music was a series of burps and farts.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Like, I was going to play it, but it makes me feel genuinely ill. So I thought, leave it at that. And he's also great because he had his first ever match against Virgil, who was a very big jobber, and he lost. Bad life. What a poor guy. And you want to know what's funny? In WCW, he had a gimmick that was called Norm the Lunatic, and he was an escaped mental patient. And it was actually amazing. Like, he was really good at it. And his manager used to walk around with a giant key, threatening to take him back to the madhouse. You know, back in 1991, we had a really good grip on mental health. And it's sad because Mick Foley wrote in his book about Mike Shaw. He said he was a really great wrestler, but he was saddled with these really sad gimmicks that, I mean, you can get a silly gimmick and work your way out of it. I don't know if you can work your way out of that. Let's put the pizza down, mate. It's over.
I mean, at least he's working out at the same time, so...
Burning off, you know?
Yeah.
Negligible caloric intake right there. Okay, our last two are the two of the biggest ones. We are going to look at one of the most famous segments in wrestling history, and we've had a lot of requests for Joe to do promos, so I think it's only right if Joe, after we watch this segment, does this promo. We're going to look at the Shock Master. Shock Master.
That's a great mask, but can he see?
Clearly. The answer to that question is not well enough. So Joe is going to do the Shockmaster promo. I realise over in America, you see, we actually have pretty much a 50-50 split with our audience. Half our audience seems to be from America, half is from England. So Joe's going to do the Shockmaster's promo now. And most people are like, oh, it's just in normal voice. But over in America, they can't get enough of this shit. Like, literally, there's a guy who sent me a long list of promos, like, get Joe to do these. What, like, give them to you?
We've discovered a new subculture here, Kevin.
Clearly.
New fetish.
Money.
Okay, I have to put on my O2 messaging service voice.
I'll play the role of Davy Boy Smith. He fell flat on his fucking ass. He fell flat on his fucking ass. Ash said that he thinks that they've actually raised the volume on the network of them saying that to make it more ridiculous. They've embellished it like. Joe, let's have the Shotmaster reading as it should be then, please.
All right, 1 second. Welcome to the O2 messaging service. Okay, right. So you're the man that rules the world? They call me the Shockmaster. You've ruled the world long enough, Sid Vicious. Get ready. Come on, you want a piece of me? You want a piece of me? Come and get me. Come after me, Sid. I'm ready. Along with Davy Boy, Sting, Dusty Rhodes, we'll see you at the Fall Brawl at the War Games. Until then, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Graham, fantastic. I don't care who you are.
I don't have to fall over, do I?
The best bit about that is that if you watch it closely, there is a moment where he just starts doing this, moving his arms. It's because he hears Sid Vicious talking and he thinks that's his voice. He just starts going like this. He doesn't even know. Yeah, they tried to salvage this. The following week, they had because this was live, and you can hear everyone laughing and Flair going, oh God. So they actually did a thing with them. They used to talk.
Oh my God.
So sad, The best story, Dusty Rhodes tells the story because the guy who played him, Fred Ottoman, was really friendly with Cody Rhodes, his boy, and Cody's 6 or 7 at the time, and he saw it live, and he went, Dad, I think that's Uncle Fred. So, they did a thing the next week where they were let's try and salvage this. So they had a thing, he was at a canteen eating dinner, spilling everything, and I'll put some mayo on my chips. He squirts himself in the eye. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I mess up all the time. I get so excited, but I love all the fans, especially the young kids. They're all great, and I'm the Shockmaster. Ugh. Look at him though, owning it. Yes, I love that.
Why did they decide to go with a glittery stormtrooper hat then?
Because you're not breaking copyright if there's glitter on it, honey. That's why. So there you go. Last one that we're going to do. Then we're going to maybe get some. We have some prizes from Slam Crate, bi-monthly curated delicious crate full of delicious wrestling snacks. I believe they're snacks. No, that's the other one. Okay, we'll be giving some out for some of those amazing signs we've seen. Maybe we'll have a chat with someone special. But our last gimmick we're going to do. I've been getting a lot of flack and hate on Twitter recently because of my obsession with eggs. Oh, it's you, is it? Are you the one? Are you the one? I literally, the other day last week on Friday, I was like, oh, I'm having a great day. I'll do a fun egg tweet. I go, it's fried egg. And I found a cracking gif. And someone said, have you lost your fucking mind, mate? Okay, then you're all right, buddy. It's okay.
No one is allowed to be annoyed about Kevin being obsessed with eggs because I'm the one who has to wake up every morning to Kevin saying, it's fried egg. It's Tuesday egg.
It's a stewed egg. It's a thing in some part.
Wednesday day.
All right, they're better than that.
Are they, though?
Saturday, battered egg. But anyway. In fairness, though, I cook a mean egg. And we went down Costco and got duck eggs last week, and I cooked the shit out of those. So as long as there's good eggs in the world, you're not going to stop me. So in 1991 or thereabouts, Egg-mania took over the WWF. There was a giant egg that was just seen on screen, and they go, look at that egg. What's inside that egg? And Gene Oakland would come out and he'd be like, some people think it might be the Playboy Centerfold of the Month. What could it be? The rumor at the time was that there was going to be an egg-based wrestler called the Eggman. And that was going to be for Mark Calloway, a.k.a. The Undertaker, who they had just signed. They thought, let's get this kid over eggs. So when you think about that, you said at the start, zombie biker cowboy seems so much more ridiculous than this lad loves his eggs.
Yeah, egg is a normal gimmick compared to zombie biker mortician, whatever the fuck it is.
Protein, glossy coat, tastes good, puns. I didn't see what the problem was. So all over the leading up to the Survivor Series, which takes place on Thanksgiving, they were alluding what's going to be the egg. And the egg was revealed to contain our next and final silly gimmick. Ladies and gentlemen, go wild and cluck your brains out for the Gobbledygooker!
Hey!
Yay! Now, don't let the fact that this lad over here is betraying the reaction of the room. He's well into it. When he actually came out, it went boo. They booed this egg. And the gobbledygooker came out and he did a little bit of a dance. Have we got a picture of him doing his little dance? Little gobbledygooker dance? There he is. That's Hector Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero's legendary brother.
Wow.
And that's what he did in WWF. He didn't really do much other than dance around and go...
I mean, there's not much else you can do other than have an angle where he's, like, cooked at Thanksgiving.
The best thing about it was that when it happened, Rowdy Roddy Piper was on commentary. He really tried his darndest to really put it over. He's like, wow, everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. Shut up, everyone loves it. They're loving it. They're loving it. And like, you hear him go, boo. And then he gets into the ring and he does a dance with Mean Gene Okerlund. And some people start going, yeah, all right, okay. And then Roddy then just goes, you know, they didn't like it as much at the start. But now they see what a showman he is. They love the gobbledygooker. So that is our list of silly gimmicks. And I want to thank everyone who sent me in all those fabulous links and all those videos and suggestions. I think we could very easily do a Silly Gimmicks Volume 2 down the road. I think we barely scratched the surface there, which is good because we all love chicken skin, as I've always said. Our next episode, I can announce here, and if you want to start tweeting away, we're going to be again looking at another kind of part of wrestling as opposed to a specific wrestler. Our next episode is going to be how-to commentary. So we're going to be learning all about commentary. And at this moment in time, Joe, I think we can have a short moment of silence for the end of John Bradshaw Layfield's commentary career. Right, that's enough about that, fucker. Last thing I want to do, we've got 5 minutes left. He's here, and he's a huge part of how-to wrestling. I think one of the most important parts of how-to wrestling. And he never really gets enough credit in my view, or Joe's view, because he's not really on Twitter that much. How-to wrestling, what makes it for me and always gets me in the mood for it is stuff like this, the logo, and most importantly, the artwork. We have our illustrator, Dan, here. Dan, come over here. Let's say hi to Dan.
Come on over, Dan.
Come on over, Dan. Let's all say together, thank you, Dan, okay? 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Dan. Your work is fantastic. Oh, yeah, we could do Alan Partridge chants afterwards.
Dan!
I just want to say thanks, Dan, because you've done the type of artwork that's so personal to our brand that no one's managed to steal it yet and put it on a T-shirt or something like that. But also, as well, like, wrestlers have reached out and said like that they love it. Like Scott Hall loved your picture, for instance, that you did Scott Hall. So we asked 1 or 2 questions. What was your favorite picture to draw, do you think, that we've done?
Definitely my favorite to draw was probably going to be Kane.
Ooh.
Personal favorite.
Yeah.
That's just reliving my childhood right there.
Because Kane was your favorite wrestler growing up, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, when I was like a sort of like a troubled 12-year-old, you know how it is. Shut up, Mom. I hate you. My favorite wrestler's Kane.
Because little known fact about Dan, he doesn't watch much wrestling at all. He knows even less than I do. So it's extra impressive that he manages to get the likeness down so much for each wrestler.
And yeah, it's always like really difficult because it's like a juggling act between me not wanting to spoil stuff for the episode for Joe, and then also wanting to include Joe because Joe has a way better eye for detail than I have. Because I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, fine, whatever. So like, it's always like a weird thing to come together, but it always like works so well. What's been the hardest one for you to draw, do you think?
Yeah, definitely Goldberg. I think that's just because of the existence of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He is like a lumpy Steve Austin, isn't he, Goldberg?
Well, like, here's the thing. I tried to get the difference between them by having them literally like, on the same monitor, side by side. And I was just like, oh, God, how am I going to do this? They're the same guy.
Dan, you do some illustration stuff. If people ever want to get in touch, reach out to you, hire you, anything like that, how would they best get in touch with you?
Okay, well, I guess talk to me on Twitter. I do check the notifications and stuff, so I know when people do talk to me. I just... And other than that, I've got my Instagram, which is Deadfurts, @Deadfurts. I don't know how that works. It's
Yeah,
just
Deadfurts. You're Deadfurts on Twitter and
If
Instagram.
you Google Deadfurts, you'll find me, because there ain't that many people like that.
I know. I think it's amazing now that we've done 30-something episodes now. So now we literally have this gallery of all this incredible artwork. So you've got an amazing body of work, and I think that let's give one more round of applause for Dan. So
You're really nice.
thank you. Well, folks, that's going to do it for our live show. Thank you very much for coming along. It's been an absolute blast. It's a goodbye from me, Kevin.
And a goodbye from me, Joe.
And we'll see you next time for How To Commentary. Thanks for coming to the live show, and see you later. See you later.
See ya!